The Ministry of Tribal Affairs today began a two-day national workshop on strengthening tribal research institutes in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. The workshop reaffirms the Government of India's commitment to strengthening institutions that preserve tribal heritage and support inclusive development. The workshop was inaugurated by Shri Jual, Oram, Honorable Union Minister for Tribal Affairs in the presence of Shri Durgadas, Uikey, Honorable Minister of State for Tribal Affairs, Dr. R. Balasubramaniam, Honorable Member NITI Aayog, Shri Nityananda, Honorable Minister for ST and SC Development, Minorities and Backward Classes Welfare, Government of Odisha, Srimati Ranjana Chopra, Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Shri B. Parmeshwaran, Commissioner-cum-Secretary, ST and SC Development, Minorities and Backward Classes Welfare Department, Government of Odisha, and Shri Anant Prakash Pandey, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, along with senior officials of the central and state governments. The proceedings began with the national anthem and the national song, followed by the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. India is witnessing a transformating era in tribal development under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. The government seeks to preserve tribal languages, traditions and knowledge systems while advancing socio-economic empowerment through education, healthcare, livelihood generation and sustainable development, strengthening TRIS as centers of research, innovation and cultural preservation forms an integral part of this vision. Organized in collaboration with the Government of Odisha, the workshop brought together nearly 200 participants, including representatives from tribal research institutes, state tribal welfare departments, academia, research institutions, technology organizations, industry development partners, and civil society. A key highlights of the inaugural session was the launch of TribeX, a digital learning platform to preserve and promote India's tribal arts, culture, languages and traditional knowledge. The ministry also signed an MOU with KIIT Technology Business Incubator, Bhubaneswar, to identify, incubate and mentor tribal entrepreneurs through capacity building, market linkages and access to funding. The ministry signed an MOU with Sampurnanand Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Varanasi, to jointly develop UGC recognized diploma programs under TribeX on tribal languages, traditional knowledge, arts, textiles and museology. Addressing the inaugural session, Shri Jual, Oram, Union Minister of Tribal Affairs, said India's tribal communities possesses an extraordinary wealth of languages, dialects, oral traditions and indigenous knowledge that must be preserved for future generations. Speaking on the occasion, Shri Durgadas, Ministry of State for Tribal Affairs, said, under the leadership of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, tribal development has become integral to the nation's journey towards Vikasit Bharat 2047 through initiatives such as PM Janamana Dhartyava, Janajatiya Grama Utkarsha Abhiyan and Ekalavya Model Residential Schools. Addressing the gathering, Dr. R. Balasubramaniam, member NITI Aayog, said, tribal research institutes must evolve beyond conventional research bodies into policy think tanks, repositories of indigenous knowledge and centers of excellence for innovation. Welcoming delegates, Shri Nityananda, Minister for ST and SC Development, Minorities and Backward Classes Welfare, Government of Odisha, said, tribal research institutes must evolve into centers for policy innovation, digital knowledge and interdisciplinary research covering tribal education, nutrition, healthcare, migration, climate, resilience, forest-based livelihoods and preservation of tribal languages. Tribal development has traditionally focused on health, education and infrastructure. There is an equal need to strengthen institutions and preserve that heritage, protect constitutional rights and generate evidence for policy making. In his welcome address, Shri B. Parmeshwaran, Commissioner-cum-Secretary, ST and SC Development, Minorities and Backward Classes Welfare Department, Government of Odisha, welcomed the dignitaries and participants. Delivering the vote of thanks, Shri Anant Prakash Pandey, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, said the workshop would lay the foundation for revamped tribal research institutes, strengthening tribal communities across India and furthering the Vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047. The technical session of the first day featured presentations by TRIS from across the country on their achievements, best practices, and institutional challenges, followed by discussions on the role of TRIS in policy making. Participants then took part in 4 thematic breakout groups. Recommendations from the working groups will be consolidated and deliberated on the second day. The concluding sessions will include expert panel discussions on research ecosystems, institutional reforms, and digital transformation, culminating on the adoption of the Bhubaneswar Declaration and a shared roadmap for strengthening tribal research institutes across the country. Rajat Mahapatra from Special Opinion.
देश भर में 29 है हम लोग का, इसका स्ट्रेंथनिंग करना और डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना, बहुत सारे ट्राइबल नॉलेज के बारे में, हर्ब्स के बारे में और बाकी कल्चर एवं भाषा जो है हम लोग डायलेक्ट, ये सबको बचाए रखने के लिए मंत्रालय का कोशिश है और ये लोग सब TRI इसमें योगदान करते हैं। अभी नेशनल ट्राइबल रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट भी होने वाला है दिल्ली में, ज़मीन आइडेंटिफाई हो गया है, तो ये सबको फाइनलाइज करने के लिए है। और ये 2 दिवसीय सेमिनार है, ये बहुत सारे रिसर्च स्कॉलर और बहुत सारे ट्राइबल के ऊपर में नॉलेज रखने वाले व्यक्ति लोग हैं, तो हम आपस में विचार विमर्श होगा, विचार विनिमय होगा और इसमें से जो रिकमेंडेशन होगा हम उसको कार्रवाई करेंगे।